Well, as much as it seems to be my forte to begin these endless series without closure, I thought I'd nip this one in the bud here, this little photographic foray through the architecture that I find shares the same traits as architecture everywhere else in the realm. My own criteria, my own checklist, not definitive by any means, simply the results of my own research and gathering. And in case you missed the first portion, well, it went like this, except without the music.
I'm told, around here we move slow. Turn the tempo low in Mexico. They move slow. They learn how to lie low. Too loud tempo.
You know, listening back to these ridiculous songs that I, for some reason, continue to make for these rather pointless intros, you would think there was 17 dudes over here helping me out with that. But no, it's just me. Just one man. And a million voices. Not even Jimmy. Jimmy's not even real. It's amazing what you can accomplish in just a day or two off of, well, slave labor. Well, now that you're caught up, where were we? Ah, yes. I was just about to point out the mysterious pyramid thing here at the top of this church before we moved along, looking at anomalies and gorgeous old world towers that you could find everywhere. There are people to be found. This one looking slightly mismatched. You know, what's funny about this symbol here, and this might irritate a few people, but let's just say, for example, you were trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the whole friggin' population of the realm. Let's just say it was happening, right? And you got this problem with these buildings all over the place, but you gotta divide these people. You know, you've been separated into areas, and you need to corral your area and convince them of something that they're not. Tell them about enemies that they don't have. But you got this annoying problem of the similarities everywhere. Let's say, in order to nip some of this problem in the bud, you were to say, oh, take this one here, in this region, you'd break a few little pieces off, you know, like that. And then tell them a story about the best of their kind ever, and how these other people brutally killed him by hanging him on this. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, you take the same symbol that's on these buildings, you break a few pieces off here, like this maybe. You tell these other people that this is a crescent and a star, and they're the mortal enemy of the cross people. Then you take these other people's buildings, and you break these pieces off here, and you say, well, there's the karmic wheel. Those other clowns are wrong, and they're hateful and cultish. And really, it's all about coming back here again and again and again, and being better every time. Maybe something like that's what's been going on. I mean, there's got to be a reason why there's literally no difference between mosques and cathedrals other than maybe the top or the shape of the minarets or menorahs, depending on if you're one type or the other. We'll have to swap a few things out here, you know, put some triangles in some of these and flip the eagle upside down in some of these and call it a dove, you know. We can be creative. And I'm not trying to downplay anyone's religion. I'm trying to say maybe we've been getting jerked around and we all used to believe the same thing. Very interesting how the three major Abrahamic religions are always put at each other's throats, and the teachings of their relative prophets basically negate ever coexisting. One group killed the other group's prophet, but that group is told that this group is the chosen people, and so they support them in their war against the other group who acknowledges the same God and acknowledges the holiness of their prophet, just that he isn't exactly the son of God, just a very important prophet. Somehow this puts you at odds with everyone, and the three of you should just constantly fight. Oh yeah, and all your holy sites will be basically within the same square mile, and some of them actually literally physically on top of each other despite the vastness of the realm. All seems a little too set up to me. Again, I'm not trying to irritate anybody, I'm not trying to say I know, I don't know. But if I were going to mess with people and try to cause perpetual forever wars, that'd be a good way to do it. Unlike this peaceful bridge out here in the forest, I am making noise right now that may be unwelcome. Just look at this thing. How cool is that? You wonder if what is this exactly? What's it supposed to be? It's really hard to say, isn't it? The idea that they would be stacking these massive slabs of like this as a roof seems crazy. Almost seems like this construction of some sort. Like these are massive I-beams that petrified, perhaps, and these are just floors from a massive skyscraper that just pancaked down on all the layers of the I-beams, and gradually water covered it and petrified all of it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to picture how you would build this otherwise. Very impossible. And here you have something that looks like it should be in the Louisiana or France, I suppose. These mansard roofs. What a charming little home. Imagine why this is in Mexico. Other than, you know, the borders that are randomly drawn across the world that mean nothing. There was the time not too long ago when Texas was Mexico, and so was Arizona. And there was no difference between one person on one side and one on the other. And here's your sign. There still isn't. Okay. Borders are drawn randomly by men in boardrooms and meetings after what? After wars? Well, how are we going to set up the next one, Jimmy? Well, I don't know. Let's draw a circle around this area right here. Make sure these two groups are together. That'll never cooperate. And eventually, you know, things will come to a head and there'll be a conflict. And then we can, you know, roll back in and do the same thing, sell the weapons and get the contracts and build up the cities we destroyed. Sounds good, Jimmy. And I mean, if you look at all the current conflicts right now, exactly what's stemming from that. Whether it's Russia, Ukraine, where you have these other borders that were drawn as the Soviet Union expanded and then collapsed, causing a lot of problems between ethnic Russians and Ukrainians, even Poland and Ukraine. And then on the other side, you have Armenia and Azerbaijan because of the way that those borders were drawn. They're in perpetual conflict. And in Ethiopia, you have three distinct ethnic groups that are stuck in the same land trying to live together based on an arbitrary random border drawn by other people that don't live there. And of course the Israel-Palestine conflict, same story, and all Kurds constantly fighting everyone and everywhere because of course they don't have Kurdistan. They're basically split between random countries, and this is how it happened. Why are we letting people just draw lines on a map and say, all right, you go over there, you go over there? Especially when they're not even geographical. I mean, a lot of times they're just It's just like Colorado, just a square box. It doesn't follow the contours of the earth. And look at this behemoth. Yeah, I'm sure that the guys that came here from Spain, 500 at a time, fought their way through disease and native, also had the skills to F around and do this on Saturday. This is just incredible. This middle piece looking kind of added on later, or actually, maybe this was here first and these were added on. Like this is existing from want to mess up the engravings here. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm just making stuff up. This is a museum in San Carlos. He said, getting back on track. I think we saw this one earlier, but it's hard to say because there's so many of them. Which one is this? Is this the Buddhist one? Or is this the... Oh, this is the wacky, wavy gingerbread guy. Howdy ho! Welcome to my land. And this is a San Matias Church in Iztacalco. San Pedro Church in Coajimalpa. Pardon me again if I'm butchering these unfamiliar words. Very cool. Very cool stuff here. Look at this guy. All brick, eh? And how many bricks did it take to build this world? This one's got these water cannons that only cost $0.25. You could spray people as they leave the cathedral. It's kind of fun. Santa Catarina. Not sure what's going on with that. Oh, I thought that was a person. You wonder what was in these, you know? You just really do. Quite the fancy, interesting light fixtures here for this Santa Domingo in Puebla. Funny how the ornamentation at the top is always so much better and intact. It's like anything humans can get in reach, like a 3-year-old just grab and pull it off over time. Oh, good golly balls. Look at this bad boy. That's incredible. I'd like to know who built that. The 3 doors here probably goes at least underground, at least another, whatever. To make it symmetrical, which clearly they are all about. Almost looks like a cell phone tower, doesn't it? And we saw this one earlier, but still, can't get that. That never gets old. And the irony of these these New World radio station towers behind it. Curious how that works out, huh? I'm sure they're nothing in common, though, right? I mean, it's just a coincidence. Look at these giant chess pieces. How awesome. A land of wonders, it really is. And not sure the original purpose here, but quite gorgeous. See, look at this. This is astounding. Okay, but this is the Templo de la Ensenanza Nuestra Señora del Pilar, Ciudad de México, otherwise Mexico City. Look at these hand-painted tiles here. I love so much. Templo de Nuestra Señora de Balvanera. Templo de Portacoeli, Templo de Santa Catarina, Templo del Hospital de Jesus. Look at this one. It goes a little further down, like underground, like around the basement or whatever. This is the Templo Expiatorio Nacional de San Felipe de Jesus y Torre. Easy to say. Flows right off the tongue, really. Templo Merced de las Huertas. And this is the Capitol building in Idaho. No, I'm just kidding. But it definitely could be. Cupolo, and that's part of the Templo San Antonio. It's actually a doble cupolo. This is interesting, because you see mounds like this all over. It's interesting to consider that they're perhaps hiding things like this. We're like mound builders. Oh, they build hills and slide down them in cardboard boxes. But really, there's something going on here. This is the Templo y Convento de San Mateo Apostol. I think that just means the Matthew the Apostle Temple. A bit old. Kind of seems like it's tilting over it a little bit, doesn't it? But what a beautiful place. Look at that garden. Templo and the old convent at Santiago, little tile dome here. A little bit of a mishmash of a style here at the Templo de San Diego in Churubuscos. This is the interior of a church here, obviously. Kind of a crappy resolution, but what a stunner. The 4 races sculpture, Viva la Raza, actually looking more like just kidnapped children, but Tikal Yaguaro, no guardrail. Imagine falling down that. Here's this pointless little thing we just thought we'd add on just for kicks, It has nothing to do with any function or anything like that. And their very own Eiffel Tower themselves is your Torres y Minareta de Agua Caliente, or whatever. Tower of illumination. Stands out. You can tell me this is in Pakistan, I'd believe you. Look at that dome. Why are the arrows white? Like a bad DC comic character. The white arrow. Dome peeking around back there. Man, just so stunning. I'm sure Spain built all these, huh? Yeah, right. Random Jesuit priests. Those guys would just sweep the floor all day. If it wasn't the Jesuit priests and Spanish people that came over by the hundreds, it was people that have vanished. But whoever it was, it definitely wasn't the people who live there now. That's what we're to believe. We just forgot. It's like that scene in Hook where he's like, "There you are, Peter." You just need somebody to come stare at you hard enough and smush your face around. Victoria del Viento, complete with liberated horses. Here to remind you, bringer of light has come, and you tiny people, well, you're our slaves now. Is Winged George slaying the dragon or some other similar story? What a beautiful little village. Man, this thing's incredible. And this is just So dope. This looks like a creature one might see under the influence of dimethyltryptamine. You could see something like this in Bangladesh, India. They have so many bright, colorful temples at this. It's really actually astounding. And up close, it's just, look out, just the intricacy of this tile is just so awesome. It might seem kind of gaudy, but it's really impressive. I love that. That might be my favorite one. No end to these mysterious jungle villages. This monster. Jeez. It's older than time. And another random aqueduct built by people incapable of building them. Aqueducto del Padre Zempoala something. Rather impressive, I'd say. This guy, Zocalo Cathedral. This is just the mother of all Mexican cathedrals. Like, good God. How incredible. This is just the National Archive, no big deal. Just gonna put a random dome over that. Ayuntamiento Victoria. Here in the hub of the city here, this is the Coordinación General de Asesores del Ejecutivos del Estados de Puebla. Man, I butchered that one. Something about the General Assembly, the Executive something, State of Puebla. More importantly, look at that dome. It's Dayglow Municipal Palace. You could figure that one out yourself. Similar little symbolism here everywhere. Their version of the eagle is always attacking a snake. It's another municipal palace in Tehuacan. This is Palmun Sue. I like the hexagonal fountain here. Just such symmetry with this well-plumed conqueror with a toga on. You tell this bad boy's been stuccoed over, but probably looked more like something like this originally. The old world is everywhere. I think this is just that museum again from a different angle. Quite the entrance. And this is a post office. Yeah, this building, this gilded, magical Willy Wonka looking building is a freaking post office.
No messing about, no touching, no tasting, no telling.
So much gold, but somehow not annoying. Just incredible. This thing still works. What is the point of making a post office with such grandeur? There isn't one. I mean, this wasn't the post office. There's no way. I'm sure they're using it for one now, but there's no way. I don't know what it was, but that's ridiculous. This is in Campeche. They seem to like the color yellow. This is an old prison. Penitenciaria del Estado de Nuevos León. This is the governor's palace in Aguascalientes. I think we've seen this one before, but not this angle. And this is the interior of said palace. Very humble man, very modest, living well within his means. And here he is, up on the pedestal where you should never put your significant other, not for too long anyway. This looks like a birthday cake, but no doubt it once was a much more old world fortified sort of structure. Now it looks a little neutered, but you know what's going on. This is a bank, or more specifically the Antigua Banco Oriental Puebla. Banks everywhere, huh? Just have to look like this. Cast iron work here, reminiscent of places like Rhode Island we've seen. They're richy riches. Exceptional work. Just so much opulence here that I didn't expect. I have a random tower here. Made of brick. Yeah, look at that bad boy. Those are the brick skills. The brick skills to pay the brick bills. Back at our old star fort here in Campeche. This is a great picture here because the theory that I hold, and I can't back this up with reckless speculation, that these here were acted as capacitors. Battery, which we call batteries, or cannons, that used to be inside somehow. And this is the housing for it. And this is the cell. And that's why they're always at forts, because they were just right nearby. They said repurpose them and come up with a fucking story. So they slapped some wagon wheels on it and said, yeah, you can blow it out of the other end. That's just an idea. But I mean, it seems to make sense with this device, whatever this is, which somehow we used to wirelessly transmit. You know that from old trolleys you see driving around the old vehicles, for that matter. And just the shape of it alone. I mean, it looks like it houses a battery. It just so happens we call cannons batteries. I mean, how much you willing to chalk up to coincidence? This looking very interesting, a little mini Parthenon. They even call it Benito Juárez Panteón de los Hombres Ilustres. This is in Villa Hermosa. Got you a little power supply there. And this weird building is not old world at all, but I thought it was interesting. It's where Campeche, the central government, I believe, meets here in this Space Mountain looking item. I don't understand the point of that. It almost looks like a big monster here puking, he's like, bleh. Puke out those politicians, you giant alien clam, you. And look at this guy's got two mouths. He's scared. He's like, whoa! Get your four-pronged tower here at the top of this Casa Municipal in León. Oh, I see. A little raised fraternity there, eh? And I don't know what this is. It looks like like the top of a tower. But I mean, look, this thing is all brick. That's incredible. Not sure what purpose it serves, but I see a fountain here, so one can only recklessly speculate. Looking very hypnotic almost. What a place. I mean, who knew? Look at this grandeur. This is back in that post office, which sure is very, very necessary. This is a cupola en la esquina. I'm not sure where that is. Who knew, man? Who knew? Star fort. The only kind of fort you just walk right up the hill and just piss on the defenders. We're down here. Let's say for a second I believe this story that these are all forts, which I don't, but let's say for a second they were. How are you defending this? And if it was a fort, how did the land get up here? What happened there? And why only right here? It just doesn't make sense. You apply any tiny little amount of logic to the whole scenario and it just falls apart. Like a wet Nilla wafer. Man, the time it must have taken, the attention to detail in these buildings is just incredible. And it just screams wealth and opulence. And these are the things that we're told Mexico doesn't have. Look at this. This is incredible. It's like a crystal palace. This is a post office, dude? A post office. And here you are. Back in the day, we got some 1896 pictures of a brewery. That's believable. All breweries need this operation for the hops. This is the Supreme Court Justice Building here in Mexico City. Weird how the government just has enough money for these buildings, but not enough for, anything else for the people. Edificio, I don't know what this means. It's in Guanajuato, and it's this is actually the Austrian embassy. I'm sure they feel right at home, because this building could just be in Austria. Here's the entrance to the governor's palace. He's a very modest man. You can walk right by and not even notice it. You could. Post office again here. Look at this thing. It's just incredible. Not like the looks of that. This amazing rotunda here. Part of an old convent. This to me looks like an old factory ruins or something out here. These almost look like chimneys or smokestacks, but I don't know what it actually is. Just thought that was pretty amazing. And this is where, if the stormtroopers from Star Wars were real, this is where they would attend church. The University of Guadalajara. And a little mascot guy there. Well, we meet again. You suck. Thanks, butthole. Fuck you. Thanks again from your friends. Such nice anthropomorphic towers around here. It's fuck out of here, bro. Every time, those ungrateful jerks. Post office, man, just give me some more of that, please. This is the governor's palace from the outside in the early 1900s or late 1800s. It's hard to tell. That's that university from a different angle there. Some weird spider art down there, spider sculptures. The people of Mexico were told they're so poor and so many peasants and stuff. And in a lot of cases, I'm sure they are. But if the governor is living like this, or whatever, I mean, it's so unnecessary. You can break off a piece of that chandelier and give it to a few hundred people. But man, I'd like to know where and when in Mexico's history, short history, I'll add, did they build all these? Or I'm sure they didn't, but the Spaniards. I mean, come on, man. Well, like 500 guys were on the boat with Cortez, right? 500? And let's say half of them get wiped out in the various fights and the wars and the disease. It leaves a couple hundred guys. Let's say even if you got a new boatload every month, that's not enough men. They have to be master masons to know how to find rock, to quarry it, to cut it, to drag it, to construct these things. I mean, it's ridiculous. These same kind of complexes in Europe, they say, took 500 years, but here's like the Jesuit priests and just threw them up. This is just a classic scene here. It almost seems fake, but the obelisk. There's so many obelisks in the world that I may have even left Mexico out of that one video and not even noticed, and that's ridiculous. Because why are they here? In Durango, and in this one here is called the Malecón de Lázaro, and Cardenas. This one here is, I don't remember what this one is. Veracruz. Just everywhere you go, the same symbols. And why? That one's on the Yucatan Peninsula. Here's Mexico City General Post Office. Some of these are from an old book that I found. Oh, yeah, here you go. This is the police department of Mexico. Very necessary to have this, I'm sure. I'm sure that's the way you designed it that way intentionally for that function. Is the Department of Communications and Public Works, which... What the hell are they talking about communications? Like, wait, telegram, smoke signal in this era? The normal school for the training of teachers and professors, which is really all that school's good for anymore, it seems like. This is a school of mines. Just look at the condition of these roads, and yet you have this. And this is incredible. Look at this tree, the size of this tree here. People say, oh, there's no such thing as big trees. I mean, look at the ruins in the background. You don't even notice these amazing ruins back here. I mean, what is going on here? What a place. And I'm sure I'm barely scratching the surface on a lot of this stuff. I mean, we barely touched the interiors of some of these, almost any of these cathedrals. We didn't almost go into any of them. This is the new federal building, old what they call new. Doesn't look new to me. And this is just almost very pagan, but what a building. What a building. Obeliscos Alvaro, the obelisk here. Governor's Palace. I need 30 rooms, Jimmy. They all need to have a green awning. It's my wife's favorite color. The Palacio de Justice, a balcony for every clerk. That's how we roll. And a weird piñata on the ground, though, in case short people try to... that's right, on the ground. We don't want to be unfair to any short people. Give them a fair chance of getting their candy. This one is in Puebla. This is the Governor Palace, the Governor Building in Puebla. This is a board meeting room inside that same post office we keep coming back to. Because these are in no particular order, as you even guessed, but I'm sure every post office needs a massive dining room. What the hell's going on there? Like, they didn't even know what to do with the building. And this could be any capital in America, but it's not. It's Presidencia Municipal El Salito, Jalisco. So there. These are always a little mystery. Usually, the bandstand or whatever we call them here. So there's a big bronze or copper bell on top here. What is going on here? And this might look like a flying saucer with growing legs, but no, we're assured this is a Roman-style monument. Couldn't have come from the people who lived here. No. Rome had to have brought it. Oh, man, this is just so old world. It's just... I'm very excited now to continue to show you other nations because of the similarities are just unmistakable. And here, this is kind of funny. Someone got in here, this little Freemason little temple or whatever. They do little rituals and took some pictures. It's not really historic. It doesn't really fit this video, but I thought it was interesting. Somebody did that. And this one's for sale. And you get to keep the eagle, too. And I just made that all up. This is one of those indoor fountains. What I believe there used to be a fountain. There's always kind of rays on the sides here. Nearly the end of our little tour here of Mexico. Like I said, not the end all be all. Just a little refreshing reminder that we don't know jack And now that you have Cathedral Figa, I'll be going now. I'll see you soon.